What do you think Malone's speech was?
We've been here before.
This is where we want to be.
This is where we
We've
want.
got them right where we want them, boys. Of 3-1. What's up, guys? Welcome to Buckets and Chill, the Retrospect.com's official NBA podcast. I'm your co-host, Javier Faustino. I'm joined by my boys, Vincent Pao and Andre Santos. What's up, guys?
What's up?
See what you did there.
So we just finished watching Game 4 of Celtics Heat. The Celtics.
Five.
Oh, sorry, Game 5. Yeah,
Game 5.
Celtics
Game 5.
defeated the Miami Heat. They keep their season alive. What are we thinking about the series?
Convincingly. It was a convincing defeat, just like the other game that the Celtics played. We're alive! Oh my gosh. I don't know where to start, and I don't want to point out the key analysis. I just want to say at first that this pod, during the first quarter of this game, I was already planning, like, I even messaged them last night. I was, Javier and Andre, I was like, oh yeah, we could do a Celtics pod and possibly a Celtics off-season pod already. And then in the first quarter of this game, I was like, damn, we're really gonna spend our whole episode doing a Celtics off-season pod. It was that bad in the first quarter.
Yeah, I think it didn't turn out the way I was expecting it to from the first quarter. Because I really felt like all of the momentum was with the Miami Heat. I thought that the Celtics came out flat. So I thought they were just like sort of giving up in the series, to be honest.
Ooh,
So I was expecting
Celtics.
this pod to go really differently. Yeah.
And like usually the Heat would start slow. So it was unusual to see the Celtics down the first half. So I was like, if they're down the first half and they always fail in the second half, I think it was done. So I really thought it was GG.
Yeah.
But surprise.
Okay, if I had to sum up, like in my super very very short analysis of the game, it came to two things. So one, I feel like one, first of all, Tiger Hero didn't explode for 30 seconds. I actually feel like
MJ?
I actually feel like the Celtics played well in Game 4, and except for that one Tiger Hero explosion quarter. What did he have? Like how much in a quarter? Yeah, I think that was mainly the cause of the Heat winning in Game 4. But then also, I think the defense of the Celtics played a role in that in this game. They were more active against the guards of the Heat. And then, two, I feel like the bigs, Daniel Tice and Enes Kanter, they were more active in this game, especially Enes Kanter in the second quarter. Honestly, I felt
Ooh.
like Brad was being
Big boy.
That was like a desperation. You know, when the coach is
Yeah.
like doesn't know what to do, he looks at the last man in the bench.
Magic bunot. They call it
Yeah.
a magic bunot. Here.
I feel
Your
like
turn, you go in.
I feel like, Cantor in the middle of the zone would actually be pretty good just because, he's an offensive threat. You get what I mean? So
Yeah, no, he's good
Right.
because he forces the Heat not to switch. The thing with the
Yep.
Heat defense
Yep.
is they're so switchable, where they switch Bam on everyone, but then the only player in the Heat that could actually match up with Cantor in the post is Bam. So
Yeah.
like whenever like Jimmy or Duncan or Hero got switched up to Cantor, they just feed it in him there, and that's easy 2 points.
yeah. And initially the Heat, they didn't even play a big. They had Andre Iguodala at center, and then they were forced to put Kelly back into the lineup.
Bro, Kelly was good, ah. Made 5 points in a row pa. But the thing with Kanter, not only did he bring points on the board during his time, but like Van Gundy said, one of the biggest effects of Kanter playing well was forcing Thies to play well in the third.
Feels the
It's like,
competition.
dude, yeah, he felt the competition. He got pressured. Like, dude, if Kanter's doing well, I gotta do something, man. And he did.
Yeah.
He did.
Damn. I didn't think about it that way actually.
And
Like, he's like,
that's-
oh my god, dude, my backup's playing
Yeah.
better than me. Like, he's
And I
smart.
think that's an element that's sort of missing in basketball because in football, for example, the starting 11, it changes quite frequently. So your teammates, they're always like vying for spots. Whereas basketball, more or less, the starting lineup's always fixed. So I think it was
Right.
good, to keep Tice sharp and keep him on his toes so that he can perform at a higher level.
And it was so important also for Tice because it was against the zone. Where you see those plays where Tice would just like flare screen, he'd run
Yeah.
up to the middle,
Yep.
and he's like
The
wide
float-
open because
floater gang.
he'd actually face up the basket this time because usually he
Right.
gets it there and he's looking to pass it already to one of the wings, like from a dribble handoff or something. This time
Yeah.
he faces the basket right away, so that
Because
go Andre.
and like you mentioned that he was setting that flare screen.
Yeah.
Because the importance of setting the flare screen was instead of him standing in the middle, when you're a top zone defender, you're usually just blocking the middle, and then when they swing the ball to the other wing, you're closing out there. So you can defend two guys at one time. But what happens when you set the flare screen? You force the defender to go under or over. You make him choose. So usually they're choosing the shooter since it's Tatum on the wing. So Thais was smart to set that screen and then just pop to the middle right away and to face the basket. He was like a threat. So Bam, because of the defensive 3 second the defensive 3 seconds rule, he had to choose whether he was gonna come up on Thais or play the low post. So Thais hit a few mid-range shots.
Yeah.
What's the rule on that? The defensive three. Like you can stay
Like,
if you're within
you have to
like,
step-
arm's length, right, or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, arm's
If
length.
you're-
But you have to
if you're
step out of
defender-
the paint, both of your feet, like to reset the 3 seconds.
Right.
No, but if you're, you have,
like not
if
arm's
the
length.
offensive players there, you can stay there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you can stay. Because it's gonna be the offensive 3 seconds
Yep.
if he's in the paint. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
So,
So wait,
I've
looking
got
at the box. Okay, go Javier.
I got something to say. Vince is not gonna like this whatsoever. The Boston Celtics should be ashamed of themselves. They shouldn't have been
ashamed.
in this 3-1 hole in the first place, and it's about damn time that they showed up. So Brad Stevens,
Right.
he was wired today in Game 5, and he said, in all sincerity, that's the first time I've seen Celtic basketball in a while. So I feel like, with the superior talent of the Celtics, they're just getting out-hustled, outplayed, out-coached, out-strategized. That's the reason why they were in the 3-1 hole in the first place. So they're not living up to the potential that they should be performing at.
The thing is, I had this debate also in my head because like coming into the series, I was like, oh yeah, the Celtics are the better team. They're the more talented team. And then the first two games, like the Heat won, but then you see the margins. Like the Celtics were leading like 75% of the time of those games. So it's
Yeah.
really like a closing thing.
And it's like even
Then the
total
third
scoring.
game happened, right? The Celtics won the third game, and then it was pretty decisively. But they had like this mini run in the end, but it didn't really matter. The fourth game is when I kind of thought like, wait a second, I think the Heat are the better team this time. Like, I don't know how it happens. Where I don't know if that's skill or if that's just like, but how the Heat would catch up every single game. Like you'd think that the better team would be up most of the time, right? But it's more of like
Right.
the Heat, like in the first two games, the Celtics are up like most of the time, then the Heat catch up.
Yeah.
But then that goes to bite them back in games 3, where the Heat get behind and they can never really like find a rhythm and then come back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think regarding your take that the Celtics should be ashamed, if they had to be ashamed, they'd be ashamed about games 1 and 2, because those were the games that they choked hard. It changed the whole narrative of the series too.
Here's
Because like, what? Because like,
Here's-
if you lose the first 2 games like that, then it's already you're in a 0-2 hole, right? So you have to
Right.
win what 4 of the next 6 games already. So
yeah.
we choked those 2 games, which is what we should feel bad about. But I feel like both games 3 and game 4. Game 4, I think the Heat won that like fair and square. Like,
But
the
game
Celtics-
okay, here's the thing. Game 4 or just the series in general, I think it boils down to 3 factors. The first thing is that Goran Dragic is outplaying Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker is a max player. He's called Cardiac Kemba for a reason, and you're getting outplayed by Goran Dragic. Like, he's not living up to what you're paying him to do. He's not living up to his reputation, right? That's the first thing. Second
Yeah.
thing, Jason Tatum, like, for a whole in this series, he's playing well. But he got all NBA third team, so I'm going to hold him to that standard, right? So he can't be throwing up donuts in the first half of game 4. He literally had 0 points. If he didn't have 0 points, you guys would have won that game. The series would have been 2-2. So that just changes the entire dynamic of the series.
And
so I
come on,
think-
game 4, you have to make.
I seriously think the Celtics should have won game 4.
Tiger Hero had an MJ-esque performance. That was crazy. Did I
MJ.
tell you about what Isa said after the game? Did I show that?
Guapo.
Put it up on the
Guapo.
screen. No, it's good.
No, because it was like no. I don't put it on the screen. I'll just
Just
say.
kidding.
So like after the game, I'm feeling pretty down. Like Tiger Hero roasted my team and everything, and like I'm texting my girl.
talking about in the pod.
Because it's so funny, dude. I find it so funny. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, we really lost. This guy, he killed us and everything. And then she goes like, oh yeah, is that the Tiger Hero dude? He's so cute. And
He's
I'm
only
like,
20.
yeah, and I'm like, he's only 20. That's what I was saying. I was like, he's only 20. Then she goes like, oh, he's only 20.
bagay.
He's so cute.
Killer on and off the court, man.
I really just like, okay, I'm not dealing with this guy. After seeing him torch me for like 3 hours, I'm not gonna talk about that. But yeah, I have a take where I think the Celtics like actually played well that game, aside from the Tiger Hero thing and the turnovers. Oh yeah, and that's
Yeah.
another thing. The turnovers today, they limited that. So
Yeah. Wait, so let me finish the third point. So first, Goran Dragic outplaying Kemba. Second, Tatum not living up to his All-NBA third team consistently. And then the third thing, it's on Brad Stevens, man. Because it took him, 2 or 3 games to figure out where to put his players in the right position to succeed against the Heat zone. They weren't approaching it correctly. Like, they didn't implement the right strategy. And you can blame the players saying like, oh, they're the ones who are on the court. But it's the coach's job to hold them accountable and say, oh, you should be cutting like this, screening here so that we can penetrate the middle. So I think that's
Wait,
on
so-
Brad Stevens.
coming into the series, you think the Celtics are the better team?
More talented. Yeah.
They're the more talented
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
You think that?
Definitely more
100%.
talented.
Yeah, more talented. Yeah.
And
The Celtics' best 6 is better than the Heat's best 6.
Yeah, but I feel like the Heat's best 9 against.
Yeah,
the
but you
Celtics.
saw
And
today that Brad Stevens shortened the rotation. He
I know
barely
Gordon
played.
Hayward didn't play first 2 games. Remember that?
Yeah,
He didn't play the
yeah.
first 2 games. So
Right.
if you put the Celtics' best 6 or the best 7 who play against the Heat best 7 in those first 2 games, I don't know. It's pretty close because they're so well-rounded. The Heat, they have so
Yeah.
many options to kill you. That's the thing about them. Like
Yeah.
today, they got outplayed pretty bad, and
yeah.
I have to talk about Jimmy Butler too. Well, what do you think's going? I feel like he's not living up
Yeah.
to his.
And
I
yeah.
don't know if it's a
Go ahead, Andre.
team thing.
I think it connects to. Wait, let me bring up my point of why I think this. Like, the Celtics were down 2-0, and I was confident that they could come back 4-2. Well, it's
Mhm.
obviously not gonna happen. But let me tell you why I was confident about that. I think the Heat, they're so good because of their system.
Yeah.
But just like the Rockets, a lot of their shots, well, they don't take 3-pointers like the Rockets off isolations. But getting looks off for 3-point shots, you're eventually gonna start missing. And I think that's what happened today.
Especially
Because you're gonna get open looks, but eventually you're gonna start missing some of them.
Mhm.
Unlike, that's why I feel confident with the Celtics, because they had one game where they scored 60 points in the paint. If you can score 60 points in the paint and just find a way to at least get half or 2/3 of that, 30, 40, you're gonna survive.
Yeah.
But when you're a Heat team against a talented team like the Celtics, and you're hitting that much threes, or you're getting your 4th best player to score 37 points, the chances are, just thinking of probabilities,
Yeah.
it's very unlikely you repeat
Yeah.
that. And that's what happened today. They just became cold. I felt like they were getting good looks still.
Yeah.
shout out
Butler,
to Jay Crowder.
right? Dude, he was a brick. And like,
It was a break.
he was
He was literally a
I just
brick,
felt
dude.
I just felt like, in terms of shot quality, there wasn't a significant difference.
Yeah.
Like, of course, we can say Celtics
Yeah.
played good D, and they did. I
Yeah.
think they were defending the pick and roll on Dragic better, helping on Adebayo so he didn't have
Mhm.
the straight rolls. But
No,
in
that's the
terms
thing.
of the open threes, they were still there, and they just weren't
Yeah.
knocking them down.
Yeah.
And I'll
I have this
echo.
theory. I have this theory with Jay Crowder. he has a maximum number of threes he makes in a playoffs run.
He
reaches
exhausted
that
them
cap,
already.
Then he
Yeah.
just like he did it with the Celtics. Like he was playing so well first 2 rounds. Then we went against the Cavs, LeBron, and we like got swept or 5 games because Jay Crowder is just breaking. Dude, he has this like 50
Right.
threes quota, and then he reaches it. He just regresses from down there.
Well,
That's like the real Jay
I'll
Crowder.
echo your point, Andre. I think the Heat, they definitely live and die by the three more than the Celtics do. And that's why I have high expectations for the Celtics to get back into the series. Because they're definitely more dynamic and they can score in different ways compared to the Heat. And what you were saying, Vince, about Jimmy Butler, that was going to lead into Game 6 for me. Like, he just has to show up. He needs to hold up his end of the bargain and be the closer. He's the leader of that team. And I think we're due for a big Jimmy Butler game. Because you saw it at the end of this game, or towards the middle of this game actually, the Celtics defense like clamped down. And I feel like that's like a sign of the changing of the tides. Like the Celtics from now on, they're just gonna hold it down. So the Heat are gonna struggle to generate offense. So they're gonna rely on Jimmy to make like hard shots more and more as we get deeper into this series.
The thing is, I'd take it. I'd want Jimmy Butler to take those hard shots. Like when he gets the ball, I want him to drive against a contested Jason Tatum, Daniel Tice, and just throw up a shot.
Same.
Like I want that over like Robinson and
Hero.
Tyre Hero threes.
It's because they're contested
hard
jumper. Yeah.
It's so hard to like I'd prefer that over Bam Hero. I'd prefer Jimmy Butler doing the most of the shots. And that's it's kind of crazy because he was supposedly their best player, and now he's the one I want. Like aside from Jay Crowder, dude, I want that guy to shoot like 100 shots per game.
So
Jay
He's so
Crowder
tentative.
Yeah.
and Iguodala, dude. Iguodala's a liability
He is.
On offense.
Yeah, dude. He's a
Dude,
huge
Solomon Hill
liability,
looks
though.
like he was like washed away in an island for like 2 months.
The castaway.
Yeah, man.
He woke up and he's like, it's like from the
He
future.
woke up.
He was like,
He's like, it's the
still a
conference
chance.
finals. Yeah.
Well, he didn't even play in the first and second round, so
Yeah.
he technically is.
Yeah. Crazy. Like, it's crazy that he's even in the rotation, in my opinion. But, oh well. So I think.
can I make
I
a
don't
rant?
get why.
Can I start my rant? Javier knows this rant. You guys
Sure.
know this rant is coming. So, I have this rant, and I said it last time on the pod about the NBA officiating. This time I have it, and I'm not saying it's against. I'm not saying it's against the Heat, okay? But I'm just using Goran Dragic as an example. So
The Dragons.
Goran Dragic is matched up with Tice, and he takes like a step back, and he fakes it. So Tice naturally would go up, right? And then he tried to contest the shot, but then he went down, and he stopped. He stopped his own like momentum from bumping into Dragic, and then Dragic just flails his body more, and then it hits Tice, and then Tice gets called for a foul. This is I feel like what's so wrong. One of the things that's so wrong about the NBA now is that how these calls the blocking and charge call, those are like bang bang calls, right? Like they can go anyway. Like
Right.
yeah, sometimes there'll be a charge that should have been a block, and sometimes but that call in general is a hard call to make. I feel
Yeah.
like these calls are not hard to make. It's so obvious when the shooting form of someone is
Yeah.
not natural.
Yeah.
You don't go and watch like a high school game and see a guy shoot like that. A coach doesn't say, you know what's the plan. Don't shoot naturally. Just lean your body in the defender and pretend you got wrecked by a truck. That's not natural. You don't go to a pickup game and someone like tries to contest your shot, then you like flail around like James Harden or Kyle Lowry and like say, oh, that's a foul, 3 shots. It's not like that's not how we should approach basketball. I just find it so dumb, and I feel like it's not a hard call to make. What do you guys think?
I agree with you that the rule of thumb for this call, when they pump fake and then the offensive player jumps into the defender, I agree that the rule of thumb should be a natural shooting motion. So if they go like out of their way to find the contact, then the refs should just leave it at a no call. And that definitely wasn't a foul on Tice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the biggest factor on why that isn't a foul is Thais was jumping straight up. Like
Yeah.
if you see that the defender's putting his hands up and he's just jumping up and down, point A,
Mhm.
then you know there's no intention for a foul.
Yeah.
So it's obvious that the offensive player is jumping into him. So it's just stupid. And like,
And I'm
And
trying to
for-
see
other than that call, there are just so many dumb ones. Like the hostile act. Oh my god. They stopped the game to review
I don't
if it
get
was a
that
hostile
also.
act.
So they review a hostile act, but okay, this is the one where Iguodala kind of like shoved Tice, right? You remember that?
Yep.
yeah.
In
In
the,
the
third
face.
quarter, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they call a
Yeah.
technical foul. How is that not a flagrant foul? And why is that a technical? Like, what's the difference?
So I was listening to Van Gundy's commentary on it. Based on what he said, at least, it's that when the ball isn't in play, it's a technical foul, and then when it's
Yeah,
in
but it
play,
was
it's
in
a
play,
flagrant
though.
foul.
Right.
It was in play.
It was after the
It
whistle.
was after, yeah. Because
So
Also-
basically, it's like excessive motion after the whistle.
yeah, because
So
the
if
ball
you
was
call the
going.
foul-
They were taking it out to inbound the ball, so it was yeah.
So if
it
you
wasn't
call
in
the
play.
foul first, and then I kick like Andre in the balls, and then what happens? That's a technical one, not a flagrant.
Technical foul level 2.
I think
Just kicked out.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
you-
is there
if-
such
An
a thing?
ejection.
Yeah,
An
the-
ejection, I
th-
think.
there is.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. But
So
it's just okay, guys. So what bugs me the most is that we spend so much time on these reviews and these hostile acts, but we can't. They still can't get like. They can only review this. I feel like if we were going to review the calls, at least review the ones that are like kind of like that could change the game. Which are these ones? Like sacrificing. Oh yeah, okay. We'll be reviewing more calls, but then at least get it right. Because these hostile acts they're reviewing, and it doesn't like the one when Kemba like just flopped, and then they're gonna review that for a hostile act. What's the
Right.
point? Why are we gonna waste time on reviewing that? It's an obvious flop, and just like I'd rather us review those calls where like what. I don't even know. First of all, I don't even know why they have to review it. It's not even a hard call to make. Like, but dude, I just hate watching players just like flail their body around, hoping that they can draw a foul. It just destroys the game.
It's
And
so common now.
It
so
is.
common.
It's. I mean, before it was
so
only like
bad
what
to watch.
James
Dwayne
Harden
Wade,
who do it all the time.
Maestro, man.
Or Dwayne
He-
Wade, yeah.
he's the
but
best
now
at that.
Every player is just doing it, just throwing it up, and then
But-
they're going like, "Oh yeah, that's a crafty veteran move." Crafty veteran. It's so ugly to watch. No one wants to watch you flail your body around and like pretend you got hit by a truck. I don't
So-
know.
You're so mad.
Dude, you play
I am.
college ball. Does anyone
Yeah.
do that? Is there anyone, Andre, in your game?
Bro,
Does
like
anyone do that?
I don't know why in the Philippines it's not common for people to be like attempting those bumps and then 3 points. I think
I-
everyone's scared that you won't get the call.
Yeah, I don't
And you
think
just
in
end up
any league
Breaking.
except the NBA. I think in the NBA
Yeah.
is the only league we see these.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
like-
where
I
they're
don't-
trying to draw fouls in the 3-point line.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Like the side to side thing, where they just go up and like I don't
Yeah.
like I don't go watch a game and then I'm like watching these high school players just do that all the time. It's just the NBA, and it's not. I'm not blaming the players. It's the system, and it's how
yeah.
inconsistent it was. Like if they call this the right way, if they call that, oh, that's not allowed. You can't bring your body into the defensive player. Then they'll stop doing it. The thing is, they're so indecisive and so inconsistent with the calls. The NBA players are just gonna keep doing it because it rewards them 3 points.
Yeah, and we have to remember that it's just an offense-driven league, so that's how.
That's the thing. Also,
That's how the
Entertainment,
I feel like
bro.
Yeah.
the league is so adamant on protecting the offensive player. Like since like the early 2000s, they removed the hand checking. They removed like so many post up defensive foul, everything, and then now we're protecting the jump shooter, which I get. The protecting the jump shooter is when they go under is important.
Yeah.
But the flopping and the flailing of the body and
the undercut,
the body hugging, the
Zaza cheap shot, you know.
whatever you call it, dude. I just.
All
Anyway,
right,
okay,
so
that's
to
it.
wrap
That's
up
my rant.
the Heat Celtics, I think Game 6 is a must-win for the Heat. I think if the Celtics win Game 6, the Celtics win the series.
Ooh,
Yes,
bold
sir.
takes. Bold takes. Celtics and 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's just got to know that they know I'm not a Celtics fan, but I want this win for the Celtics so bad. Bro, I don't want to be. I don't want my first Stephen A mistake.
I hope Tiger Hero has a. he probably had a bad night like before sleeping. He couldn't sleep or something. I don't know. Hopefully that
No.
happens again, dude.
Kadi
Can't
at least
expect him-
Henry, man, his girlfriend.
I can't expect him to.
Oh, they're
play like
together,
Michael
man.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is she in the bubble?
I don't know.
just remember the
I don't know if
sliding
she's in
into
the bubble,
DM.
but she had some suggestive tweets after he dropped 37 points. So we'll see what the ramifications of those those nights are.
He's not even legal.
Yeah. Anyway, so we'll move into Lakers Nuggets. The Lakers are up 3-1 at the moment. Are we surprised by this outcome?
3-1. Let's go Nuggets. Perfect position. What do you think Malone's speech was? We've been
Here before.
This is where we want to be.
This is where we
We've
want.
got them right where we want them, boys. Up 3-1.
I'm not afraid of anything, boys. We've done this before. We can do it.
Yeah.
Bro, if they do this,
Dude, it's
what the hell?
It's all
They
going
might go
according
down
to
the greatest
plan.
team of all time, whether they win the chip or not.
Uh,
3-1 thrice.
No, I don't think they'll do this, to be honest.
I know. Me also.
Yeah.
Is that as a Laker fan or as an NBA fan?
As a man who's highly respectful of LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
I'm really so curious what Malone says. Like he probably doesn't say anything. You guys know what to do.
So let's delve into Game 4. Anthony Davis was unstoppable to start the game, right? He went on a
Crazy.
mini solo, 10-point run by himself. And he finished the game with 34 points on 66% field goal. I think the bigger storyline in that game, though, was that the Lakers started Dwight. And that just changed the energy of this Lakers team. So Dwight has more bricks in his back pocket than JaVale McGee. McGee just gets moved off the spot so easily. And high energy, great rebounding. He's athletic, and he's a lob threat. So those second chance points from his offensive rebounding was crucial to the Lakers' success. And he finished the game with 12 points and 11 rebounds.
Dude, I was thinking like, I think LeBron James and Anthony Davis. When you look back, I can't think of a better duo
Like
ever.
just fit
Like
and like
Magic-
how much of a superstar each of them are.
So there was Kobe Shaq, and then who else are the great duos? Magic, Kareem. Wow, they're all Lakers.
Yeah.
I just know Magic and Kareem. They didn't. Their primes didn't line up. I mean, LeBron and AD, their primes aren't lining up. But LeBron has like.
But
an
LeBron like
extended
prolonged
prime.
this prime,
Yeah, that's why.
So,
Yeah.
So
But
I think we're at the point where we can consider them one of, not if not one of those, the greatest duo to ever play the game.
wow.
I
For a
don't know, dude.
Celtics fan, huh?
I mean,
Kinda
bold.
surprised
No,
with you.
based on pure talent, not
Yeah.
achievements, because they haven't like achieved
Yeah.
anything yet. But like pure
Yeah.
talent.
I
I-
would only put them as one of the greatest duos of all time if they win the championship this year. Because I don't think you can be in that conversation without winning
I
anything.
think they will. I mean,
Yeah.
I have them winning the championship this year.
And there's another duo that people forget about that deserve to be in this conversation. Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. Like that for a while. Like I know it was like shorter lived, but my goodness, like that's a really dynamic
Steph-
duo.
Is that
They're
better than
four.
LeBron AD though? I mean, I have to pull up the stats on this one, but based on the limb, I don't think so.
Oh no, I wouldn't
think,
say it's
like-
better. They're just in the conversation for one of the greatest duos of
I
all
think
time.
dominance wise, and I still think LeBron. I'd take LeBron and AD in the basketball game over Steph and KD.
For sure. For me.
Because you're thinking of the 2-on-2. LeBron would just dunk on Stephen. But to the LeBron and AD, like I'm for the Lakers, but personally, I'm not a fan of them together on the floor.
Oh, that's bold.
I think they're better when Rondo's on the floor, like them together.
Like them three,
'Cause-
you mean?
Yeah. Like the LeBron AD duo is better when Rondo's on the floor or when there's a point guard on the floor.
Can we just say that?
Because I just
the
feel
Lakers are
that when
better
LeBron is the point guard and he has AD, he suddenly becomes less aggressive. You feel like I I prefer it when LeBron's in attack mode, and then his option is to kick out to AD or drop pass to AD when he's attacking the rim.
Yeah.
But there are just times when he's the point guard, and his long outlet passes, and like he's just standing in the wings.
At that point, he doesn't even run up the court anymore. He just throws
Right.
it, throws it up.
No, he has these
from
possessions.
3/4 court, he's
He has these
outletting in the
possessions
post.
where he wastes like 10 seconds off the shot clock.
Bro,
Bro,
Then he's just gonna attack it.
you know, as one of
That's-
as what minimum second greatest player of all time, you gotta let him go in his bag, bro. Like,
dude,
I
he's
just found it
doing
so
these
funny,
between
dude.
the leg moves, and
Yeah,
he's not
dude.
going anywhere. Then he
so
ends up with a
funny.
mid-range shot where, like,
yeah, barely
It's like an
jumping.
autopilot move, dude.
Yeah.
You need at least like 5 possessions of that game.
Yeah.
Show it off. And then
So, to LeBron's credit, I think Game 4 was a classic LeBron game. He had 26 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 0 turnovers. And
we
what
even have to say classic LeBron
yeah.
game. That's just
And
his
I wanna
average at this point.
emphasize that Kawhi, Giannis, KD, James Harden, all these guys, they can't have those numbers in high pressure moments because they don't
Ooh.
facilitate at the efficiency that LeBron can.
Ooh.
And what separates LeBron even further as the best player in the world still is that he's the best lockdown defender in crunch time.
Yeah, when he fouled Murray.
Dude, Jamal Murray
Nuggets
was
versus
an
the refs.
obvious
Jamal
foul.
Murray is the hottest man in the league, averaging 26 points per game in the
so
playoffs.
confident.
Yeah. He's so confident.
Wow.
But LeBron held the Denver Nuggets to 0 for 6 in the fourth quarter. So even at 35 years old, LeBron is still a lockdown defender when you need him to be.
I have a question about Murray, and this is about like I want to hear your guys' takes. Obviously, yeah, Murray is playing great. But I just want to know, like, with these young guys like dominating the bubble so far, like Hero, Murray, Tatum, and everything. How much would you
Kentucky
attribute?
boys.
Yeah, how much would you attribute it to the bubble itself? Do you think like Murray and Hero are averaging the same amount of points in like a packed arena, wild fans booing you, pressures on?
I
'Cause
think
I think it has some to like they're great players obviously, but there's a bit to do with the environment of the bubble.
I'll spin that because I think the absence of fans and all of that pressure playing in front of them, that's definitely a factor because these rookies, they aren't used to like the size of NBA crowds in under normal circumstances. So I would acknowledge that as a factor, but I don't think it's the biggest factor. I think
It's not
the
it's not. I'm just
biggest
saying it's part.
no, but I think the biggest factor for their production, like of all of these young players improving so much, is the stoppage. Because the stoppage essentially was an off season where everyone could improve. So you can take Tyler Hero for example. He's in his rookie year. If the season went as planned, it would have been the off season. He would have had time to work on his game, and then he'll take a leap in his sophomore year. But we're seeing those premature leaps now because of how long they got to improve their game in the off season.
Right. And I think another factor, Javier's right with the game, but I think one factor we should consider is that they're not with their girlfriends.
No, that's the thing also.
We know Jamal Murray.
Ball is
We
life.
know
No.
the Jamal Murray story, bro.
Tough.
I know everyone who's listening to this knows about Jamal Murray in IG.
Leaked.
So he's not getting that. Tyler Hero's not getting any of that, and they just locked in and focused. I think
but-
that's
These
Yeah.
two guys
Big
apart,
part.
so they're not partying at night and like
Yeah.
going wild.
yeah,
think-
bro.
no, but-
I think
One thing I think is that the bubble helps younger players more than older players, and because one is the back-to-back nature of games. So
Yep.
Right.
games are played every other day.
Yep.
That's hard for older players who like, especially I think this affected Kawhi the most, who's someone who's never been 100% healthy his whole career. So yeah, and two is that I feel like the older players, they suffer more in the bubble because like, I mean, they're grown men and they have families, and being away from your family, dude, that's tough, bro. That's actually tough. And
Yeah.
it builds up to the point I think it would, like, these young players, it's just kind of like it's another AAU like tournament where they summer camp whatever, and then they just go and hoop. But for these older guys, I mean, they have lives and it's more It's more than basketball, I think. So I think
Yeah.
this also plays an effect.
And I think
True.
the most obvious example of the take that you have, Vince, is in LeBron James. So we know that usually in the playoffs, he's in like zero dark 30 mode. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't go on social media or whatever. But because of what's expected of him, like off of the court, like being this like social activist leader,
Yeah.
and all of the stuff right now that's going on in America, there's so much stuff outside of basketball that he has to focus on too. So I think that's also affecting like his concentration
He's not there to make sermon Bronny for
for making bad decisions. Yeah. Bronny's been spending too much time with the new Laker J.R. Smith, man.
Do you guys enjoy watching the Lakers? Honestly,
no.
me too. I don't know. How about
see-
you, Javier? You're the Laker fan.
No,
Do
but
you
see,
enjoy watching the Lakers?
This is gonna come off like extremely biased, but I would go as far to say that the Lakers are the most entertaining team in the league to watch. And
No, bro.
Wow.
before
The
you
Lakers are so
before you
boring.
refute that, let me back it up. One, there's star power, so there's LeBron and AD.
Okay.
Everyone loves watching stars.
It's obvious.
Two,
right?
there's the Showtime play style. So everyone loves like fast break basketball, all these highlight plays, running up the court. Three, everyone crowned the Lakers as like the meme team of the NBA. So there's all of these different personalities that give you different storylines. So there's like JR, Henny Smith. There's like Shaqtin' a Fool, JaVale McGee. There's like Rondo with like pretending to be Chris Paul in that interview. You know, like there's all of these different storylines. So I feel like
what about
Yeah.
the Lakers are
about-
just
what about,
so attractive to watch.
what about 5? Anthony Davis posts up for 24 seconds and gets 2 free throws. And-
Right. That's the thing.
Stop
I'm
fouling.
so
It's been-
tired.
But I
been
feel
like that all
like that's
season, dude.
that's the opponent's set. Like stop fouling him. Like
Yeah. I
He
think
gets so many damn free throws. Dude.
because of how much I'm watching the Lakers this postseason. Like now I'm realizing you're getting free throws.
yeah.
AD and LeBron isolate, and like AD's actually more fun to watch isolate because you're like, wow, that's a big man doing all that. But LeBron when he starts dribbling
With his
like,
stiff bag,
shit,
bro.
not again.
I'd
Again.
argue that the half court offense is pretty hard to watch. When they go on
Right.
fast breaks, it's with Rondo, LeBron,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, the
Davis
fast
who gets
breaks
one.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I
they're
just
not.
feel like
they're not
just
really a
getting
half-court
so
team,
lucky.
eh? Yeah.
Yeah,
but
that's true,
The
naman.
thing in the half, when they get stuck in the half court, I mean, sometimes,
sometimes
they're
you're just
effective,
like-
it's just boring.
Sometimes you're wondering like, wow, a team this talented, and then the half court they're this boring. Like, come on, man. Like sometimes it's just so frustrating when the team you're rooting for is like so stagnant on the half court. I don't
Yeah,
know. Just
I
sharing
agree.
It's
that.
not a. I don't think it's a bad thing though. Their half court offense is fine. It's just
But I think
It's
it's
just hard to watch.
accentuated because of how much like the Celtics and Heat playstyle contrasts
Right.
the
and the
Lakers.
Nuggets and the Nuggets
Yeah, and the Nuggets, yeah.
And the
So we're
Nuggets.
watching like, you know, the proliferation of the 3-point shot, right? All of these dynamic athletic wings and yeah, just like having different facets to the offense versus the
Right.
Lakers at the same time where it's just like LeBron AD pick and roll and then AD gets fouled
Yeah.
and then AD drains the free throws. Like,
Yeah. And
So
I think it should remind us because at first in the earlier part of the season I was like, oh, LeBron has a great supporting cast and like this should be a championship team. But slowly you just realize
they're terrible.
they're terrible. Like imagine taking LeBron or AD out.
Yeah.
That'd be a bad team. And I just find their surrounding guys. I think they're low IQ. I think this one might be one of his lowest IQ teams.
lowest
in-
IQ team.
Yeah.
I think it's
I think overall, I just
No,
like
but
the
it's
Heat
also-
had
it's also hard.
high IQ guys.
It's hard to play with LeBron and AD as like trying to find. It's hard to find your role.
Yeah.
I think sometimes like when you're playing with two stars who are defined roles and know what to do. It's not like a Heat system where everyone has a role, right? And everyone
Yeah.
knows what to do. It's more like, okay, here's LeBron, here's Davis. The rest of you figure out what you can contribute to the team. If you can't contribute, I'm
right.
subbing you out.
That's
It's
so
like that,
tough.
But I think
It's
you know
tough.
your take, Andre, of how like below average some of the supporting cast of the Lakers are.
Yeah.
That just works in LeBron's credit if he wins the championship because
It does.
because he
But
doesn't
it
have
does.
a spectacular team by any stretch of the imagination. It's just he's paired up with AD, but everyone has like a star running mate.
It's for me. It's more of not low IQ. It's more of how each player has to change their game to play with LeBron. It's not
Gets.
to play with the system. It's to play with LeBron. It's not like when you go to the Heat. Oh, Heat culture. I gotta fit into this system. When you go to the
Right.
Celtics, oh, Brad Stevens.
It's like
I have to
they
fit
know
in.
what they're
LeBron's the
what's
system.
When you go to
expected
the
from them.
when you go to the Lakers, when you go to the Lakers, you have to be like, oh, I need to know how to play with LeBron because and you see it in history. There are players who know how to, and there are dudes who don't. Like Kevin Love, he struggled with this for like what a whole season.
Yeah.
Didn't know his role with LeBron.
Even Kyrie, they won the championship, but he didn't know how to
Kyrie,
coexist.
Bosh, a lot of people. So I feel like that's what makes it tough is just
Yeah.
knowing how to play with LeBron.
I would
And
say
it's not that LeBron's hard to play with per se. It's more of like,
There's a specific fit.
there's a
like,
specific
there's-
fit that you have. To
Yeah.
play
yeah,
with LeBron.
and he's just
Okay,
such
I get
a
that.
dominant like aspect on the court. So you have to adjust to that dominance. And I
And
would
it's
say
not-
like the person who's fit with him best in his career is Jeff MJ Green, dude. Like the dude was a monster.
It's not
2018.
James Jones, dude. I'm pretty sure it's like James
James
Jones. or
Jones
Mike
winning
Murray.
4 championships. or
Kyle
something.
Korver with LeBron was pretty good. Kyle Korver, J.R. Smith. I think guys who can catch off the move are really a great fit with LeBron.
Yeah.
Because I'm realizing now that the down screens they used to set for JR for Korver are for Kuz now, and you're like, what? Bro, he's not gonna make those shots.
Kuz
I guess
mania.
they're really being put in tough.
You think you'd play well with LeBron, Andre? You think you'd be a good team?
You'd be like,
Imagine
nah,
Marcus.
Nah.
Would Marcus Smart play well versus ganun eh? Would Marcus Smart play well versus
Wow,
LeBron?
self-proclaimed
Maybe.
Marcus Smart.
Okay, so I have a question for you guys, and I'm curious to see if you guys can actually get it right. Who has consistently been the third best player for the Lakers in the entirety of the playoffs?
Rondo. It's not even a.
Keyword.
It's not Rondo, right?
It's not Rondo. Consistently.
I got KCP.
Yes, sir. KC3, boy. You know why? It's because Rondo. Okay, how many games have the Lakers played? 5 games first round, 5 games second round, 15 games. They played 15 games. How many times have we shouted playoff Rondo? I would say at best 4 games. So 4 out of 15
missing it.
games. So the third best player is KCP because of how consistent he's been for this Lakers team. His shooting is so
Definitely.
important for them because they don't have it anywhere else. Danny Green is literally stinking it up.
How many more?
So to back up that KCP take, he's shooting 42% from 3 in the playoffs. In the Western Conference Finals,
Wild.
he's averaging 14 points per game, 57% field goal, 53% from 3. Like he's actually balling out. And I just want to give him the credit that he deserves because he was like such a meme when he first got on this team. Everyone was like, this guy's overpaid. He went to jail. He's not, like he
Oh, for real?
yeah.
Yeah, I drafted him in fantasy. Then he
Yeah.
jail, dude. Like injured. So like out.
It's like
You read the
in
notes,
fantasy
you're
it said
oh,
like out personal issues and he's like actually in jail. So I think
Wild.
So I think and he plays 30 minutes per game, which is the third most in the team behind LeBron and AD. So I
he's
feel
a
like
great defender, dude.
and he's a good defender. He
above
complements
average, yeah.
LeBron and AD with his shooting and his high energy defense. So I think I'm sorry, Rondo, playoff Rondo. You have to be 4th in the pecking order.
So, is the series over? What do you guys think? Are
Oh
we
my
not going to
God.
talk about the Nuggets?
I think
The thing is,
So hard.
these games are winnable though for the Nuggets.
yeah.
I
For-
don't know what happened to Jokic the guy.
for the Nuggets-
Jokic is in foul trouble again. This
Yeah.
guy can't stay on the court guarding AD.
Well, it's also Dwight there. Dwight's giving him problems. Like
Yeah.
Dwight's boxing him out and fighting for offensive boards. And when Dwight is getting into those positions, Jokic is forced to foul him because he doesn't want putbacks.
I think the Nuggets are in reach for these wins closer than we think.
Yeah.
I think
Because
so too.
just like
It's
just like the Celtics Heat, parang it's different in the way for this series. you can hope that the Lakers will start missing shots when you start doubling Davis on the post. And I think they're going to force Kuz, Danny Green to make shots. And I just have this feeling they won't. Like, they're going to let us down again.
Dude,
And
the Lakers go
Dude,
cold.
they're gonna force
So
the
you-
other
you-
guys.
you
They
have them
can go
winning.
cold.
You have them
As
winning.
hot as they can go. Like they
Yeah.
can go cold
Nuggets-
really fast
Nu-
also.
Nuggets are winning game 5 for you. I say they win
I-
game 5 and then LeBron's like, yeah, and kills them in game 6.
I hope LeBron does that, man.
Like
Like,
60 point
I agree.
whatever.
I think I don't know if I don't think LeBron has 60 points in his locker anymore. I would say, him like going Super Saiyan. I would say 35 to 40 points, close to a
Whatever,
triple double.
45 point
Yeah.
like, statement. Right?
I think
Okay, yes,
if I'm predicting, I would say the Lakers being up 3-1 right now.
playtime's over, kids.
Game
Then,
5, the Lakers are gonna take it easy because they're up 3-1, and the Nuggets are gonna win that. And then LeBron is gonna say enough is enough in Game 6 and close them out.
You pray though that the Lakers don't lose game 5 because social media will go crazy.
yeah, dude.
They're like,
And then
it's
the pressure
happening again.
The pressure is
And
gonna
then
be
the,
so
the
different.
pressure just starts hitting up, dude. And that's what I want from the Celtics Heat. Like, I just hope the Heat start to feel the pressure. I hope they will though in game 6.
Yeah,
Yeah, so if the Lakers lose game 5, it's 3-2. And then
dude, the world's gonna go
Twitter-
crazy.
Twitter's gonna
Yeah.
go like, oh my god, Denver, here they come. Mike
Yeah.
Malone's gonna go into his in-game speech again. Here we are, boys. We're back.
Can dude, like, can I just say, I don't know if this is a hot take, but Murray looks like the most unstoppable guy in this series.
Well, that's what.
Like, you can say it's AD, but I think Murray is just getting his shots, any shot he wants, more consistently.
Dude, the
And
craziest.
it's just a matter of him making
The
it.
craziest stat that I saw was in these playoffs. This is versus the Utah Jazz, the Los Angeles Clippers, and the Los Angeles Lakers. Murray is shooting 73% from 3 in crunch time. Like crunch time,
Right.
huh? Like when
He hasn't
Yeah.
missed
Yeah.
a free throw too.
when it's
He
do or
hasn't missed a free
die.
throw also crunch time.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like he's so
Good
clutch,
boy.
it's insane. And even Kawhi, who's everyone crowned him as like the best defensive player in the league last year. Kawhi tried to lock him down like in crunch time when they had a 3-1 lead blown, right? In game 6 and game 7, Kawhi tried. And Jamal Murray just every single time stopped on a dime, drained it in Kawhi's face. Like it doesn't matter who you put on him. So I think that's why this series is scary for the Lakers, even though they're up 3-1. Because here's LeBron and AD's production. Jokic and Murray's production sometimes is right here with them,
Yeah.
And that becomes a big problem because when they're matching star production, the supporting cast of the Nuggets is way better than the Lakers. So
Yeah.
that's why they're susceptible to lose games.
It was supposed to be Kuz versus MPJ. Now it's KCP versus MPJ.
What's happening to Kuz, man? What's happening to Kuz?
I don't know. He's hitting threes though. His threes have been okay naman these
Yeah.
playoffs. But
No,
I
he's
don't
just,
know. Sometimes
he's just a
it's
role
so
player.
off. Yeah,
like
he's
I don't
just
think
a
you
role
I don't
player.
think you can expect like, and I think he's doing what he's capable of. If that makes
I feel
sense.
like here's what I think about Kuz. I think his career would have went much better if he didn't start out as good as he was when he started out. It would have been better if he started out bad, then he improved. Because when he started out good, the pressure went so sky high for him. And like,
so you think he couldn't handle it?
Dude, you see what people say about him? Harsh, dude.
No, but
You have to they compare him to garbage and stuff like that because he's not. And he's not even that bad. He's just not playing like the way people thought he would be playing by now. And like, it's also because the comparisons to like Tatum and all this other
Yeah.
Mitchell and everything.
I think when you're analyzing Kuz, the context is super important. So he was drafted 27th pick in the draft versus Tatum going. What did Tatum go?
Second.
Third.
Second. Or third? Yeah, third.
Third.
So you compare those two, third to 27th, and Kuz was matching Tatum's production in the rookie year. So, because his expectations were so low and he exceeded them, we were like, oh my God, this guy
Future.
is so good. Yeah, he's the future of this league. Like he's a future star wing
Yeah,
in
but
this
that's
league.
where the problem is though.
Yeah,
Because,
and then you get to the next season where you have those expectations of him being a complementary star to LeBron when he never was going to be that because he was, what, a 3-4 year player in college. Normally, when you stay that long in college, you know what you're going to get from them already.
Yeah.
So that's why he went 27th because his ceiling is much lower than all of these lottery picks. So that's why he hasn't really improved since his rookie year because I feel like he's around his ceiling. Like,
Holy shit. Sad reality.
yeah.
Or it might be the Jenner curse. Either or.
Kendall. And shout out to freaking Jeremy Grant, bro. That guy is looking like he's
So
turning
worker,
into
bro.
Jeff Green, turning
The
into
worker.
MJ. Like he's playing so well. And he did it against Kawhi Leonard. Like he guarded him the entire time and then he just
Yeah.
adds like this level of dynamism for the Nuggets. Like cutting to the hoop, shooting threes, getting
Yeah,
steals.
He's just a dude
Yeah.
you want on a 5-on-5 basketball game. You know what I mean? Like you would pick him
For
all
sure.
the time in like a pickup game or something.
And he's knocking down those last second mid range shots.
Yeah.
Like, to end the shot clock. So those are super crucial, especially in the playoffs where you don't have a good possession, then you need someone to bail you out. So it can't be Murray always. And
Yeah.
in the past 2 games, Grant was doing that for them. Because I honestly think Jokic doesn't play better than what he's playing now. I just think they put in a good strategy versus him, having Dwight or JaVale, but mostly Dwight. I think Dwight's putting in the work
Yeah.
to slow him down.
So
And he's not bullying his way in the paint. And I just think that's the ceiling for him this series.
year.
What's
So
the-
it's gonna
what's the
be big for
predictions?
MPJ and Grant.
what's the predictions? So Lakers in 6, all of us.
Well,
I got 5.
when we
You got
started
five.
when
If
we
you're
started
winning.
this series, like before it started, I predicted Lakers in 6. One of you guys said Lakers in 5. One of you guys said sweep.
Said 4.
So
Yeah,
I
that was
said
me.
sweep, though.
yeah,
Oh no, I
I
said
said
5
4.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said 5.
I said 6. Yeah, and just to close off that Jeremy Grant point, his confidence and production is at an all-time high, and you can see that in 2 aspects of the game. One, this dude is taking off the dribble step backs, like versus the Lakers.
Bro.
Like, when do you ever see Jeremy Grant do that? That's the first thing.
I think the whole league is taking
Yeah.
off.
No, but the second thing
Step backs at
is
this point.
there are double teams on Jeremy Grant in
Right,
the
in
post.
the post.
Yeah, like what is happening to Jeremy Grant? Why is he so good, man? I had him in fantasy when he was in OKC, and that guy, yeah, he's just a statistical monster.
Yeah, he does it all for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, steals, blocks, everything, because he's a high flyer too. Yeah,
Yeah.
Bro, if I had Danny Green in front of me, I'd probably be as confident also.
Wow.
Bro,
Wow.
Parang
that's a
they
bold-
parang they're not that scary. Eh.
yeah, that's fair.
But Danny Green is supposed to be a good defender.
Yeah, but his lateral movement is nowhere.
slow now.
Yeah,
He's slow, aging.
he's
Aging
old.
stars.
Yeah. So I think one thing to remember for the Denver Nuggets fans out there, Jamal Murray is 23, man. And that's actually crazy
Only
because
23?
he in these playoffs he already propelled himself to one of the best point guards in the game. I don't know if I'm, exaggerating there, but for me he is.
I
Top 10.
You know, Danny Ainge was so close to drafting Murray. He loved him, dude. Murray was
What
fifth.
pick was he?
He was 5th. But we had the 3rd pick. We got Jalen Brown, which I think is a better fit for us either way. But like,
Yeah.
it was Murray or Brown. That was the 2 options. Then we rolled the dice with Brown, and I ended up more happy because I think Brown fits with Tatum better than Murray would.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, this guy, he had like what? He first like 2 seasons, he was what? He was like a what? 20 point, 18 points.
No, not 20. He was like it was like 13 and then he progressed to like an 18. In this season, in the regular season, he only averaged 18.
Oh,
Now in the
really?
playoffs, he's
Was that
averaging
good?
like what, 25, 26 points per game. It's ridiculous the leap that he's taken.
It's
And-
crazy.
Yeah, and his playmaking, man, it's come such a long way. Like in the pick and roll and just those last second, like when the shot clock's winding down, he just finds the
remember
pass.
when he'd bully Lonzo? I remember that.
Dude, his celebration, the blue arrow.
Yeah. he scored 50 on Kyrie, I think. That
Yeah.
was one time. Like I was like, oh my god, this guy
No,
can't miss.
just to see how far that Jamal Murray has come. People weren't sure who was better, Jamal Murray or Emmanuel Mudiay. Like in the Denver Nuggets. Like
Bro.
so yeah, he's improved so much so fast. And
Yeah.
even you can see that with Jokic too. Like he's only 25. I do believe that they have a core for like a championship team, but it's just too early.
And as a player, I remember like when you're trying to play your game, your best game comes out different. Like when you know you're not competing with someone,
Yeah.
and like I bring the point because they thought Gary Harris was their next guy at first, and he
My
didn't step
guy.
up. And then now in the playoffs, Will Barton's gone. So when
Will the
when the
thrill?
pressure, yeah, like when people expect you or you know you're the best player and you know that no one else is gonna do anything unless you step up, that really boosts your confidence for real,
Did that
Yeah.
ever happen to
'Cause-
you? Did that ever happen to you, Andre?
for sure. Like, like when you know that when the guy's injured or when you know that he's off lately, because like you never want to pull anyone down.
Yeah.
Like you never want to say,
Yeah,
I
it's
hope he
like-
has a
it's
bad
like-
game or
it's like
something. But
the
as a
Celtics
when
do.
you have a teammate who's like off, all of a sudden your mindset's like, oh, I gotta be that guy. I need to
Yeah.
step up.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's worked for him.
I agree.
Honestly.
Yeah, I think in general some players play better when they're role players. Some players play better when they're the best player in the team.
Yeah, like when they're designated.
Yeah, when
like
they're
it's
like, there's
it's
no choice. Like,
announced. You're the star of this team,
yeah,
you
when
know.
they're like, I think I think it's the same with the Celtics and Tatum and before Kyrie. When Kyrie left,
Right.
then
Yeah.
yeah.
Because that them being obligated to defer to a star player, it messes with their confidence a bit sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why these all-star nods, they're more important to them than we think.
Yeah.
You think they just want it so they can make history or achieve some goal of being an all-star. But actually in reality
It's psychological.
a claim. Like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
psychological where
Yeah.
they can when they get back after the all-star break, their team knows this guy's our all-star. Like he's the legit all-star.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, will the comeback kids in the Denver Nuggets shake the NBA world once more? Will the Boston Celtics compete versus the Miami Heat
We are
in
competing.
compete? They need to compete, man, because
Dude,
they got out hustled so many times in the first two games.
okay.
So
okay.
we'll catch you guys next time. And remember, come through with buckets and chill for all things basketball.